Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So I'm back today with a little bit of a catching up. I had my yearly cabin retreat last week. I had a wonderful time. My two dear sisters joined me for most of it, and we had a blast. And the three of us hadn't been together for a long time, and we, of course, talked a lot and laughed a lot, and we had the dogs there and just really had a great time. We ate, we drank wine, and now I started another diet after that weekend, but or that week. But it was a wonderful time. I didn't get a lot. I did read a bit. I didn't get a lot of writing work done really, but it was kind of nice to actually take a break because I just published that third book of my series, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I did something you might not know about me, because I never talk about it really, is that I also am a songwriter of sorts, meaning that I have written a few songs in my lifetime. It's something that is like poetry, kind of a passion of mine that I tap into every once in a while. Kind of like I also like to draw. I'm a bit of a sketch artist, but it's more of a latent talent because I haven't really quite developed it as much as I should, but there's only so many hours in a day. But I do love writing songs, and I'm a terrible guitar player. Just let me put that right out there. I figure out what the chords are from my limited knowledge, and I write it down, and then I get musician friends of mine to help, including my husband, who's an excellent guitar player, to like get it to be have a little bit more shape. But I can hear it in my head, and I can kind of pick it out on the guitar. Then I write down the chords, the lyrics, and kind of shape a song. So this one song I actually had started a year ago, the last time I was at the cabin. And my younger sister, who is a very, we're all creative. Let me just put it right out there. We're all creative. My older sister is an excellent fine artist. My younger sister, she's a psychiatrist or psychologist rather, but she is very musical and very smart. But we sat down, and she's a very good singer. And we went all through like music together in school and stuff, and choral music. We had a really good choral music program in high school. And I was the alto, she was the soprano, so we learned how to harmonize together. So I'm working on this new song, and we kind of both got so into it. We spent about a good section of 2 days, like for several hours a day, hunkering down and really really focusing on it to the point where the song is now pretty much complete, thanks to her. So she is now a co-writer. But that kind of taught me the importance of focus, and something I've talked about before. Before I ever had a YouTube channel, I used to have a different blog, which is since just archived, but I wrote a lot on that blog about the creative process. It's something I'm very interested in, just sort of as a science. Not that I'm scientific, but just observing what helps the creative process. I find it a fascinating topic. And I've read some books on it, but it's been more of just as a casual observation of mine just as I apply it to my own work. And at the cabin, when we didn't have internet. Yes, we had phones, but it's not like we were like staring at our phones, because there was beautiful nature and a lake and all kinds of, and we were together. Like, we didn't need to be on the internet. I highly recommend taking breaks from the internet. Absolutely. I think in some ways it's reshaped our minds. Of course, it's an incredible tool. It's changed the world. But like every piece of progress, there are things that have been lost that probably should be conserved, as far as at least appreciating unplugging and getting away. Actually, I feel really quite fortunate. Despite working my way towards a senior citizenship, I do feel fortunate that I grew up in a time when there was no internet. And I was watching, oh my God, first of all, I was so sad. I'm going off on a tangent, but I was so sad about Naomi Judd. I hadn't mentioned this yet. I loved her music so much. Back in like the 90s, when the Judds came out, I had all their records. I had Winona's solo album on my, I had a little, cassette player, Sony Walkman, and I would just listen to them all the time. I would sing those songs. Just loved it. So I was really heartbroken when she passed. I just watched her, in Ruby, the VC Andrews show. Was it the Landry series? I need to get back in touch with my VC Andrews series. I kind of let slide a bit, but I thought she was so great in that, and I just loved her. I loved her glamour. I loved her glamour so much. And yeah, she's gone. It's very, very sad. Of course, I went on YouTube and watched a lot of Judd's videos when that happened, and there was an interview with Winona who said because there wasn't anything else to do, she got into music. And look how that turned out for her in an incredible career. But I highly recommend, if you can, taking a break. You don't have to go to a cabin, but you can do it in your own house. I know it's a little harder, but just get away from it and sit down with a guitar or some Crayola crayons and just be creative. And at one point, my younger sister and I, and we, nothing can make, siblings can make each other laugh like nothing else. But at one point we were working on this song and we were just, singing without shame because we were in the middle of the woods. So there was no self-consciousness. At one point we were giggling and saying that the park ranger might bang on the door at any moment and tell us there's been a noise complaint from like the birds or something. But it was great. And I think I said something like, or my sister said, "Oh, I feel like we're 12 again." And I'm like, that's the point. That's where the magic happens. It was great. So that's my recommendation. Anyway, where was I? So when I was at the cabin, I did do some reading. Putting together my reading vlogs. They're all on my Patreon page. So the new one should be up there if you want to check that out. And if you don't want to become a patron, that's fine. Some of them are for free, and then I'll probably link them all together on a YouTube channel at some point. But if you want to support, that would be nice. I don't have many patrons, but I appreciate every one of them. I feel very blessed. Okay, so, well, first of all, I feel bad I kind of missed Halloween-a-thon. That's something I look forward to every year, and it did kind of coincide with that week, but I probably will do something. I know Batilda loves to do a Halloween-a-thon video, so hopefully before the month's over, I'll do a bit of a wrap-up, because there's a lot of overlap between that and HorrorMAYhem, which is what I'm going to talk about now. So the first challenge for HorrorMAYhem was to read a supernatural monster cryptid story. I'm not sure the exact wording of the challenge, but I read The Conqueror Worms by Brian Keene. I actually finished this at the cabin, and I didn't really see too many worms there, which was nice because I'm not a big fan of worms, but I did see 2 beautiful owls. I don't know if there was a nest right outside the cabin, and usually you don't see owls during the day. I've only seen a couple owls in my lifetime. One that came swooping over my head. I don't know what it was trying to get. Maybe it thought my hat was something, but these owls were gorgeous. We took some pictures. Hopefully, I'll put them somewhere on this video so you can see. So it was very magical. But The Conqueror Worms was, this was tons of fun. It kind of veered off in a different direction. And not that it was disappointing, because it all kind of came back together at the end. It was a fast, fun monster story. I like Keene's style. It has a feeling of like a Stephen King kind of like hard-driven characters, humorous, down-homey kind of country folk, which King does a lot. And yeah, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it. 4 out of 5 stars. The second week was Gothic horror, which I absolutely love. And for that one, I chose a book or novella that I put off for too long. And that was Carmilla by Sheridan. Sometimes it's just Sheridan, or it is J. Sheridan Le Fanu. I absolutely adored this novella. I read it twice. That's how much I loved it. It's probably the best thing I've read so far this year. 5 solid stars. It's one of the original vampire lore stories that is before Dracula, and it had a tremendous influence on Dracula. That was pretty obvious once I read it. It is about this ancient Austrian family and of noble women who've kind of died out. So their chateau is this crumbling Gothic mansion. So there's that sense of the old nobility and the decadence of that, and it's great. I just Absolutely loved it. It is kind of famous for its like lesbian vampire themes, which many filmmakers like the Hammer films exploited to delicious effect. I watched one of those Hammer films. It's part of a trilogy. That was a lot of fun. And I also watched another adaptation, newer adaptation that wasn't really about vampires. I was a little disappointed. It was more like using the source material as using as a metaphor, a vampire metaphor for like a young lesbian relationship that is frowned upon by a religious fanatic, like kind of territory we've seen before. It was a beautiful film. I'm glad I watched it. It was very atmospheric and well done, but didn't have the bite, so to speak, of the original story. I'm surprised that no one's just written a screenplay, or maybe they have and I just don't know about it, or hasn't been produced or whatever. Just literally just take every scene from the book and put it on screen, because it's so visual. All the characters are there, all the tension is there, the conflict, the mystery. There's a lot of mystery in the story where we don't really get all the answers or like the big payoff, but it's there. And there's definitely the vampire slaying scene, which we all love. The Hammer film, The Vampire Lovers, I think it's called, does that really well, where Carmilla is dealt with, shall we say. And there's even like a Van Helsing character, the Baron, who shows up at the end. It's really, really wonderful, beautifully written. The prose is excellent. I highly recommend it. At least I finally read it. I was going to say I'm ashamed that it's taken me this long, but at least I appreciate it. And I kind of feel like maybe I was waiting for the right time to read it. Like I wanted that, like I said before, that focus, that free from the internet, free from distractions, just alone in my cabin, totally focused on the text. And it is Victorian dense text. I mean, after reading Brian Keene's book, which is very modern, of course, it took me at least a paragraph or a page or two to kind of adjust to the style. But once I was in all the way, and I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. I did a whole blog post about it, which I will link below. Absolutely loved it. I also read the companion piece, The Haunted Baronet, which is also very interesting. It doesn't quite have the horror elements as Carmilla. It's more of a ghost story. Kind of reminded me of Wuthering Heights in a way. It kind of has that feel. Yeah, it was really good. So I will definitely read more from this author. The only bad thing is just in reading this vintage copy, I completely destroyed it. So spine's broken. I had to put a piece of tape to keep it from falling apart. But hey, it was worth it. I would love to get a really nice leather-bound copy of that, if one exists. Maybe like the Franklin Press or something. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, boy, I'm chatty. It's just because I haven't been here for a while. What else do I have here? The next in line for the HorrorMAYhem read-along is Cosmic Horror. And I'm reading a book that I found when I went to it was such a cold day. I remember that my husband and I went to Princeton to have my car fixed. I did a whole haul video about that day because I went to the Labyrinth bookstore in Princeton, right on the campus there. And it's really lovely. Talk about Gothic architecture. I mean, I just love that place. And I bought a bunch of books. And one of the books I bought was called The Rim of Morning, Two Tales of Cosmic Horror by William Sloane. Stephen King wrote the introduction, which I'm going to read after I read the stories because that's what he recommended. In 1930s, William Sloane wrote two brilliant novels that gave a whole new meaning to cosmic horror. In To Walk the Night, which is the one I'm reading now, Bark Jones and his college buddy, Jerry Lister, a science whiz, head back to their alma mater to visit a cherished professor of astronomy. They discover his body consumed by fire in his laboratory and an uncannily beautiful young widow in his house. But nothing compares to the revelation that Jerry and Bark encounter in the deserts of Arizona at the end of the book. Okay, so that sounds really great. I'm only about 30 pages in, and it's very good. Oh, it's really good. Really, really well written. It has a very collegiate feel to it, almost like an American, Evelyn Waugh kind of feel to it. Like Bridesheads Revisited. That's what it reminds me of in tone so far, but I haven't gotten that far in. But wow, I'm feeling really good about that. And I'm hoping to read both of the novellas, the short novels this week, and also if I can squeeze in experimental film, I feel bad. I kind of planned to read that one, but I pushed it a little back because, I don't know, I read a couple or watched a couple reviews and they weren't all that favorable. But I'll probably still read it eventually. Okay, what else before I get to my giveaway? Something else I just got in the mail, which I was thrilled to find, is the complete set of DVDs for Night Gallery. This was a TV show back in the 70s when I was a kid, Rod Serling. I didn't watch as much Twilight Zone as I did Night Gallery. I was too small. I was just a baby when the original Twilight Zone came out. There were the black and white ones. I did watch the reruns. Sorry, I can't say that word. Reruns. But Night Gallery was on like regular TV and it was in color. I remember watching like one of the first ones. It stars Joan Crawford and it is directed by Steven Spielberg. They're hard to find though on YouTube for whatever reason. So I bought all the DVDs. I'm going to watch all of them and report back because I just love Night Gallery. Let me know in the comments below if you are a Night Gallery fan. Okay, so then last but not least, I'm doing a giveaway for my series, my trilogy, Moondance. Wait, I don't have it in order. 1, 2, 3. It's very satisfying to see all these books together. I love these covers by Consuelo Parra. So I am doing a giveaway for this whole set. A little more of a YA story, although my character does grow up. She starts at 17 and she gets into her early 20s, but it's pretty much rated PG, I have to say. And I'm really proud of this series. I really am enjoying it, and it feels good to finish it and move on to something else, which I will talk more about in my next video. I don't want to overload you. But if you would like all 3 copies, these are the actual copies. I will sign them and send them on and maybe even throw in a goodie. I'm sorry, it's for USA only just because it's so expensive to ship overseas. If you're interested and would like to throw in your chance to win, just write giveaway in the comment below and I will do a drawing next week. Anyway, I think I'm about done here. I've chatted a lot. I really appreciate everyone who stuck around for this long. And let me know if you've read any of the books I've discussed, especially the cosmic horror one, because I haven't heard too much about that. I would love to hear your thoughts. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.